Hi, and welcome back to another edition of The Journey with Joe. I want to take a quick second and thank our sponsor, the Camp Transformation Center. My boy, Andrew Cruz, will whoop you up. He'll make you strong. Check out his 3 locations. He will help you out. I'm super pumped. We got Uncle Minh in the house. What's a mortgage? It's pretty cool. Like when I had your video up on my phone and my kid goes, I know that guy. She's 12. I'm like, dude, this guy is everywhere. So it's good to see you in real life person other than just like your head or like running around doing some crazy stuff. Thank you for coming on down, man.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Cool. So, you know, it's funny because I always say that mortgage is like the most boring stuff ever, right? Like everybody loves looking at houses and going through Zillow, but everybody hates getting a mortgage.
100%.
Right? It's like death. It's a necessary evil, right? But you have managed, God bless you, you've managed to make mortgages fun. Like, I don't know how, and so we're going to get into that, but like, how long have you been in the business? Tell me a little bit about how you got started, and I know you told me about like database and stuff like that, so just high level, real quick stuff.
I got in the business in 2003. So
Okay.
in 2003, I had a vending machine business, and I was going to Fullerton College. And my boss, which was my friend back then, he goes, Min, I have a check for $43,000 that I just made. I'm like, cool. You probably got in a car accident. It's your insurance claim. Where are we going tonight?
Yeah.
He goes, no, it's from 1 month worth of work. We used to work together back in the day selling direct PC satellite dishes.
Yeah.
So he went on to something else. He didn't know. He disappeared, and he just gave me a call out of nowhere. Tells me about this $43,000. I'm like, no way. Remember when e-faxes were big? That was the only thing.
E-fax.
So he sent me an e-fax. The PDF pops up, and I see this check. And I was like, are you kidding me? I sold my vending machine business. I dropped out of college on the spot, and I went to go work for him as a telemarketer.
Really?
So in 2003 to 2008, the market crashed. I moved back home to my parents' house.
Yep.
You know, like most entrepreneurs, when they're not married, they move back home to their parents' house.
Yep.
And I sat through the market, and I learned how to do these Chapter 13 refinances before FHA was really big.
Okay.
Again. So I learned everything about FHA, and I was able to get a couple REO accounts, and I just started making money. So in 08, 09, when everyone was broke because they lost all their money, I was spending. So one after one loan officer started working for me.
Oh, wow.
And I let them work my REO accounts. And then 2010, things were amazing. Had some business challenges. We got to 2015. Dude, I was making 75 basis points, funding $68 million a month.
Damn.
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, my employees were poached.
Yeah.
They left me with a bunch of bad loans. I had to scratch and dent a bunch of loans. In 2018, we had about $1.7 million to scratch and dent.
Yeah.
After the scratch and dent was done, I owed
By the
about
way,
$600.
for those out there who don't know what scratch and dent means, that is bad stuff.
It's like someone took out a credit card that they pay every month under your name, and then they just did not pay the credit card, and now you got to pay it off.
Yes.
So I owed $600,000 left. I sold my house. Took the little money I had left. I let my wife keep half of it. I took the other half, paid off some debt with it. So I owed $400,000. I ran ads on Facebook ads, and in 6 months, reversed it all.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Damn. So that was like a couple of ups and downs and ups and downs, and you learn a lot throughout that, right? It's humbling.
Correct. Like I shared with you earlier, I learned so much how people became bulletproof, and social was like my last chance, I feel, to become bulletproof, and I'm making it, work for me.
Yeah. That's really cool because it's funny. So I got in the business around the same time, and it was the same thing, right? Like you were attracted to the money, and it was great. Like I always joke, I'm like, I thought I was a great loan officer, and then kaboom.
Correct.
Right. And it was like, oh man, I'm not that good. Like I thought I was the shit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, look at me. I'm great. I'm making all this money. And then it went away. Right. So you rebuilt it a couple of times.
Correct.
Wow. And so what was that like? Like just starting the business over? Like how do you mentally get into that position? Like how do you mentally say, all right, now I have to do this, like, and change that focus, right? Because a lot of people, because what happens to most entrepreneurs is their business market crashes, right? And then they go get a real job.
Correct.
Right. Let me get a safe job. Let me go work at Disney, or let me go work for Amazon, right? But an entrepreneur and a business owner has a different mindset. So like, talk me a little bit about that. Like, you know, one thing ends, you go live with parents, and then boom, you turn the page.
I think when you lose everything, or every time you fail, there's a coping time. There's a coping season where you have to learn how to cope.
Yeah.
The sooner you acknowledge it's your fault and not no one else's, it's not the market, it's not the industry, it's not someone who poached all your clients, the sooner you can move on. Because you sit through that coping period and you blame everyone else except for yourself.
Yep.
And even though you feel like you didn't do anything wrong, I felt like I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything right. Like you said, you were this amazing loan officer. And then you realize, you know what? It was me. I should have saved my money. I should have built my database. I should have done this differently. And then you cope and you move on. So during that era, I always go through this. I watched a series of shows. So there was a season I watched One Tree Hill.
Okay. Of all the shows?
Of all the seasons.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the last one in 2017, I watched Entourage.
Okay.
The whole season.
Yes, that was
and that allowed me to cope and then acknowledge that I messed up. What am I going to do better this time? So when I had the opportunity with social again, I made sure everything I didn't do, I did now so that I don't have to go through it again. Yeah.
And you talked about that, right? Like bulletproofing your business. I think you've said that a couple of times. And I think in this industry, we're so quick to blame the market, right? Like I did a class the other day and it's like, listen, it's not the market, right? Like it's not a bad market. It's just the market.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out how to make it happen regardless of what's going on around you. You have no control over the Fed or unemployment or inflation, right? Like you can work that database. You can focus on what you can control, right? And I think that that's so important. And most people don't, right? Like I feel like in the last 2 years or in the last year where people got like down on themselves.
Correct.
Right? Like, dude, we're not as bad as we think we are.
Yeah.
Right? Like for 2 years, we were really, really unfairly paid, right? We made way too much. It was way too good. But even now you look at it like, dude, we're still really, really good.
Correct.
It's just the market made us super. The market's made us like Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Correct.
We're really like
Kwame Brown.
Yeah, we're really like Kwame Brown. No disrespect, Kwame Brown. I'm sure your family loves you, but it's true, right? Like that's a good analogy because we were like, and now we all feel like we're not even like we're D League.
Yeah.
But the fact is, we're still NBA players, right? Like we still have to have our swagger, and I feel like so many people lost it.
Yeah, I think the lesson, if you're a loan officer or a real estate agent, what I learned in the first crash in 07, 08. In 07, 08, I was at Metro City Mortgage, which ends up being Prospect Mortgage. I was sitting there, and all these older guys were just laughing it up. And they were online. I'm like, what are you doing? They're on Craigslist buying up watches, boats, and cars from loan officers who had to sell their stuff.
Oh.
And they told me, Min, with everything you know about FHA, because I was doing those Chapter 13 refinances, focus on purchase. Don't give an F about refinancing. If you focus all your energy on purchases, you will never deal with a crash ever again.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is the only lesson I wish all loan officers would learn. And that's why, when the refis were big, they were jumping on it. They put their purchases aside. And
and they learned, right? Like those people learned really quick, like, when that faucet, and I learned that in 07, 08. Right? Like, cause I was in a call center. I was working Lending Tree leads, right? Like banging Lending Tree leads, thinking I was the greatest, but it was all refi, and then I decided to turn the page and go, I'm going to work purchase. And that was tough.
Yeah.
Right? Like
the patience.
Dude, yeah. I mean, cause you get beat up. Realtors beat you up and you got to close on time. And you got to do this, you got to do that. And so it's different world, but I think you're right? I think a lot of people are learning that. Like, dude, you have to have good marketing. And you have to be purchase focused.
Correct.
Right? Because
refi should be icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake. It's like gravy when they come. It's great. When it doesn't, it's like whatever.
Correct. Correct.
So it was interesting because you came here today after doing another event. Correct. Right. And we laughed because we're in the same business.
Yeah.
And so we chatted and I thought it was funny, but you spoke at an office and then it was like, there was a little friction.
Correct.
Right, about having you speak there. And then you get Joe, who's like, hey, bro, I want you to come in and interview you and let's talk, right? Because I think there's a lot of camaraderie in this business, right? I don't think you should.
There needs to be.
Like, I don't look at it as competition, right? Like, I think you have your thing. I have my thing. There's enough. I don't have a market share issue. I'm not getting a large percentage of the market share, right? Like, there's still deals out there for me. And so I look at it as an opportunity where I can talk to somebody who's having a certain level of success that I've not attained, right? And it's like, iron sharpens iron.
Oh, correct. 100%.
Right. And so when you said that to me, I was like blown away because I'm like, who are these haters that wouldn't see this as an opportunity to pick this guy's brain? Because there's a 99.9% chance you're doing better than those people who are like, I can't believe he's coming in here. Right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. I don't live my life that way. And I'm like, dude, for me, it's an opportunity, right? Like for you to sit here and give me some time and give our listeners some time. It's like, it's great. So you were going to be there. I was like, dude, I can't be there, but let's do this. Right. So
100%,
I appreciate it, man, because we all gotta help each other.
I feel like I'm paying it forward. When you ask me come in, I'm like, oh, he's a lender. Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as soon as you put boundaries on helping people is when I feel that you're not going to grow. Because you don't know the one thing they might have taught you that is going to change your life.
Yeah.
So the guy who burned me pretty bad in 2017, he was actually my mentor, and I bailed him out of like a big issue, some scandal with his office manager and him they were married separate, but you can know where I'm going with this. And I stood up for him. I helped him rebuild his office. But if he didn't teach me what he taught me in 2008, I wouldn't have what I have today. Yeah. So, sometimes people are gonna burn you, but that nugget you get out of them might be the nugget that changes your life, and you'll never know if you don't put your best foot forward and like help.
Yeah, for sure. You have to help each other, and you have to be willing to collaborate, right? Like I met with a loan officer this morning, came in, and he's like, "Hey, bro, like, can I pick your brain?" I'm like, "Yeah, come on in." And we just talked, right? Like he had questions. He's younger in the business, and he just had questions, and I think you just have to do that, and you can't be intimidated. Right? Like so many people live in fear and scarcity mindset. It's just, I don't know.
With your busy schedule though, when a new person wants your help, I think that's the hardest thing to kind of, you want to help everybody, but if for some reason you don't have the time, what do? Do you find a way to make time later on, or you just go like, you forget all about it?
I think you have to be persistent. So if you ask me once, I'm like, hey, call my assistant and set it up. Mm-hmm. Right. But if you keep asking, then you've got my attention. Yeah. Right. But if you're just like, hey, bro, I think you're cool on the DMs, I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. But if you're persistent, I'll give you time, and it could be something stupid like, hey, let's go meet and walk I'm going to be at the gym. Let's walk the track, or let's go for a run. Right. Like you can pick my brain there. So, if the person's persistent, like I'm persistent. Yeah. Right. Like I'll keep hitting you on the DMs. Yeah. I'll keep calling you and figure it out because somebody I want to get close to and I want to learn from. Correct. So if they're consistent, I'll give them time. If they're just
I feel like I make it way too easy then for people.
Really?
Yeah. And sometimes when they reach out to me, if they're a new lender or new loan officer, they'll reach out to me and I give them the answer so quick and then they don't follow through and they hit me up again. I'm like, bro, I just gave you the answer, but you're not following through. It's really, maybe I need to make it harder for them to get a hold of me.
You need to increase the barrier of entry. You need to like have a jot form and you have to answer 12 questions and be like, in order to get in, to get in with Minh, right? You got to do A, B, C, or D. Yeah. But again, you're willing to share, right? And you've learned from other people. We talked about other people that we know mutually, and that's how we're all learning. And so I look at social media, right? And I feel like most people don't like to prospect. And so they're looking at social media as like, well, this is how I'm going to prospect, right? Like, what do you say to that person who's like, yeah, bro, this is going to be my business, is just social media? Because I scrolled to try to find some of your first videos. Yeah. First video I found on YouTube, do you know what it was?
Life of a loan officer? Life of a loan officer?
No, it was commissions.
Oh, yeah.
It was a commission video, and then after that was the 4 different types of lenders.
Yeah.
But Instagram, I think I would have scrolled for 3 days before I got to your first one, because I would like to see how it starts. Right?
Oh, it was bad. I cursed a lot, and I just couldn't deliver my lines. Even now, let's say if I'm going to deliver a message on Tuesday, we film everything on Tuesday. Yeah. I work on it throughout the week.
Really?
And then when I deliver it, I can control my tonality.
Okay.
Like I work with Laura Locke. She's a lender, but she can go off the top of the head and on one take.
Really?
Correct. Yeah. So it all, some people are different. Yeah. But yeah, my older videos, I think I'm bolder now, but I still go through the same process. You're correct.
So what do you say to somebody who's like agent, lender, or anybody, right? Anybody who wants to get started and they're just scared, right? I don't like the way I sound. I don't like the way I looked, right? And I don't know what to say. Like,
Number one, I think Generation Y, and now they call it Generation Alpha, they don't care about the aesthetics. So understand that no one cares about the aesthetics. No one cares that you film one video, like 10 videos with the same shirt on. They want to see the humor.
I did that yesterday.
And meat and potatoes. Oh, yeah. There's a guy, I'm doing a podcast with him tomorrow. And dude, literally, he wants to change on every outfit. I'm like, they don't care. They want to know what the message is. They want to know the secret to life. So I think people have to understand, like, social doesn't care about the aesthetics. Unless you're showing the house, they don't care about the aesthetics.
Yeah.
And the second is you have to identify what type of presenter you want to be. Some people, they want to do that interview format. So if that's what you want to do, someone just needs to interview and ask you enough questions to get you into the rhythm. That's why I was talking so much. I was kind of quiet out there, but when we walked in, I asked you a lot of questions. I was getting myself, ready into the rhythm. So if you feel like you don't want to do trends, which I think everyone should do trends in the beginning because you don't have an audience yet, but if you feel like I do not want to do trends, I don't want to dance, I don't want to lip sync, I don't want to do skit, then have someone interview you and ask you enough questions till you get into a rhythm and then record.
Gotcha.
But the easy route is to go on TikTok and type in buy a house, real estate agent, get a mortgage, and all the trends are there, and all you have to do is follow the trends. Keep all your videos short in the beginning until you have a big enough audience. Then they care about what you want to say, what you have to say.
Gotcha. You'd recommend starting in TikTok and doing the search versus searching in Instagram?
Correct. Trends start on TikTok. Trends start on TikTok and they end on Instagram.
Oh, that's interesting.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So and it's literally R&D, right? Like,
correct.
Find somebody else and they do this, and you just.
Correct. Sometimes someone says something, just tweak it a bit. If you don't, the right thing to do is give credit on where you got the source from.
Yeah. But at least you can get the idea.
Oh,
right?
correct.
Because so many people try to think of, all right, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? Right? Like, they try to reinvent the wheel.
You don't have to do that. Like, social is about copying and making a little bit of your own. Correct.
Yeah. It's funny because I look and I scroll through and I see funny things, right? And I suck at like lip syncing stuff. Do you do any of the lip syncing stuff?
Oh, my lip syncing sucks.
Dude, my lip syncing is so bad. Like, I can't manage to get my voice. Like, it'll be 10 takes. Mm-hmm. And then my 12-year-old will try to do the same one in like 2 takes. And I'm like, dude, there's no way. How did you do that? She's like, Dad, I don't understand. Like, because I don't see you do a lot of lip syncing stuff.
Yeah, because I suck at it. So
yeah, that's so funny.
I got lucky because I got into social so early that I was able to.
You had an audience built before people were like,
correct.
Boom,
That's why I don't. And when I do that, it doesn't do well. When I do the dancing, I do lip syncing, it doesn't do well, unless for sure it resonates with like alphas or generation, Y or Z, whatever it's called. So unless it resonates with them, but then if it resonates with them, they're not the homeowners. They're not ready to buy a home.
Yes.
So that's why I don't do a lot of it, because I got to a place where I'm able to do a lot of original content.
Gotcha. Yeah. So somebody who's getting started, searching through TikTok, coming up with stuff and just copying, making it their own, putting their own little flavor on it, right? And then bringing it to Instagram too?
Correct.
You would recommend doing both?
Correct. Even though each platform does perform differently, if it does well on TikTok, 95% of the time it will do well on Instagram and YouTube Shorts.
Oh, really?
If it does well on Instagram, it might not do well on the other platform, which is kind of weird.
Really?
Correct.
Yeah, and it seems like TikTok is more casual, right? Like you said, the aesthetics. Like, I watched a video recently, and I forget what the guy was talking about, but it looked like he was in the process of moving because he had like a grip of boxes and bubble wrap and like just junk behind him. And I'm like, this dude got 700,000 views on this messy house. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't remember what he was talking about, but I watched it, and like TikTok, they don't care. Right. Correct. It's just the message.
I think the real estate agents and lenders, they care. Their peers care more than the actual consumer.
Their peers, yes. But at the end of the day, like, somebody told me that you're not making content for your followers. You're making it for the non-followers, right? Like, more non-followers see your stuff than people who actually.
So Instagram, 75% of your reels goes to an audience that's never seen you before.
Okay.
So every time you put out content on Instagram with reels, it goes out to 75% of people who don't know you.
Interesting.
And since I'm not like some of these other super talented mortgage Instagrammers or real estate agent Instagrammers. I do 3 videos a day.
Okay.
I probably do more than most people because I don't get the reach like some of these other guys. But every time I put out something, 75% it goes out to a newer audience.
Yes. Each one of those.
Correct.
So that's why if you're doing 3, that's new audience.
3 times the chance.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. And you said you brushed over it, but you said you film on Tuesdays?
Correct.
So just Tuesdays?
Correct. So I do my morning market update every morning at 8 to 8:15.
Yeah.
That one I have someone else edit it and put it out there because, rates change every day or something new hit the streets. Today the jobs report came out. So I talked about the jobs.
So you do a thing about jobs report.
Correct.
And somebody edits and throws it up for you.
But all my other content, we film it Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 1, 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. So when you go into that, so walk me through that because that interests me, right? So like you go into that and you have a set 10 things you want to know. It's got to be more than that, right? So every week it's got to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 20 something.
Correct. So I do.
Damn.
So out of that, on the weekends I only do 1 post a day, but on the weekdays I do 3. So I got 15, 16, 17 posts a week.
Okay.
So 5 of them are market updates. We actually went through this yesterday. 12 of them are, different posts. And then sometimes we recycle the post.
Yeah.
Every like 4 or 5 months. So on the 12, I call them explainers. I teach 3 things.
Yeah.
And then I do 3 scenarios, like buyer scenarios that I go through. And then I write paragraphs.
Okay.
I'll either do paragraphs, lip syncing. I don't do good on skits. So I found out what my audience cares about and I,
talk about that. Gotcha. In a super entertaining way. Like I said, mortgages, I mean, I would tell people my mortgages are just bored. There's nothing sexy about mortgage. Although there's this one chick on TikTok, she's making mortgages look pretty sexy.
Nutter Home Loans.
See, he knows. There's that one chick.
She can pick her belly button and people will like her.
Dude, it's so, they didn't.
But if you watch her live, she doesn't like most of the questions people are hitting on her. She's pregnant too, by the way. You got guys hitting on her while she's pregnant. Women asking about her hair. One time I went live, to watch her live for 15 minutes. They were hitting on her and talking about her hair. No one asked her a single mortgage question.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, dang.
But she's solid at what she does. But she grew this audience that fell in love with her.
Yes, correct. But you get the point across, right? And you give the information in a way that's easily consumed, which is freaking hard to do, right? Like even the name, what's a mortgage? Like people don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're like, yeah, I know I got to get one of those because I ain't got cash, but what the hell is that going to be?
Oh, correct.
How'd you come up with that? Was that just...
You think about 2017 is like 17 years of doing mortgages, and a lot of people still don't understand what they are. So, what's a mortgage?
Yeah, dude, that's so funny. So simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So simple, but it's like it's on the nail, right? You hit the nail on the head. So, that's freaking awesome. So, you telling us a little bit about how you're doing the social stuff, man, which is really cool. So you'll walk in with so you're basically filming about 15 a week.
Correct.
15
so
a
it's
week.
not it sounds like a lot, but it's not because my team will do B-roll and we write paragraphs. We do a lot of paragraphs.
What do you mean by paragraphs?
You write things out. You don't talk about it.
Oh.
Like the number one, I call it paragraph right now. If a couple saved $347 a week in a year, they would have $18,000 to put 3% down on a $600,000 home. So you write that out. People are going to read it. Probably the sound is only 7 seconds, so they'll probably have to watch it 3 times. They'll probably watch it 4 more times to do your math because people love trolling to correct you. And then boom, you got like 10 watches on that one video by one person. And if sometimes you mess up the number on purpose so they can correct you, and then they want to comment, which gives you more views.
Oh, see, there's a little hack for everybody out there. Don't be surprised if tomorrow I post bad math. You're going to be like, damn, Soto, that's not even close. That math is like way off, bro. You didn't even try.
I'll spell your wrong.
Oh.
That's the big one.
That's a good one. You're in there.
Yeah, I do that. I spell it wrong. And then some because if I can't spell it right, then people won't take me serious. Like sometimes it's just about the tricks.
It's just about the tricks. I posted something about breakups the other day on Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And some chick responded, "You're just looking for clicks." And I was like, Thank you for clicking and commenting and commenting. And then she deleted her comment.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, the internet's hard.
Yeah.
I did a video about how much income you need to have to buy $1 million house. Thought it was pretty straightforward, right?
Correct.
Like, high balance loans out here. Dude, TikTokers were eating me up. Like, this is the worst financial advice ever. This guy must live with his mom. This guy probably will never afford a house in his life. I was like, hey, bro, like, I fund a lot of loans. I'm actually a pretty good lover, you know? Dude, the internet's ruthless. Like, have you run into ruthless people that are like,
oh my gosh,
like just beating you up?
The worst is my wife is way better looking than me. Oh my gosh, she's only with you for your money. I'm like, I didn't. Is she doing charity work for trolls or what?
No,
dude, it gets crazy. Yeah,
dude, people like when you do the videos with your wife, they'll beat you up on that.
They beat me up on my wife's feet because she has long feet. And then they beat me up for being that she's way better looking than me.
Oh, damn. And she's taller than you.
Sometimes.
I thought she was. I don't know. Dude, that's so funny. But people will troll you all the time.
Yeah.
But there's no such thing as bad pub, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're commenting, that's not a bad thing.
Oh, we have one guy. He goes on a lot. And then me and him went back at it a couple of days ago. I just blocked him recently because it just started getting out of control. So he loves to give his 2 cents on the housing market and the economy. He's from another country. He's here, but he lives at his work. So he has no housing expense. How is a guy who has no housing expense want to give his 2 cents on housing?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's like the person who lives with their parents, right?
Correct.
But don't you feel like that's the market we're in, where everybody's getting their information from the media or from people who don't own currently? Like I'm running into more and more of that. Like when people are like I'll ask you, so Min, I'm not going to buy a house because the market's going to crash. Like, what do you say to that about the housing market crashing?
Okay, before you say that you want to give up on it, let's go on Redfin together.
Okay.
You pick the zip code. You pick your purchase price. Let's look it up.
Okay.
So I'll put it on Zoom. I'll look it up. Like, cool. You see any listings? We had one. There was 2 listings within an hour. And then like, quick, look at the next listing, 41 days. So in 41 days, no one has listed a home. And everything else is in escrow. Is it where are all the homes at?
Where are the homes at?
Yeah, where are the homes at? And let's look at the ones that are sitting on the market. They're not turnkey. So what does that tell you?
Yes.
So I also let's go online really quick. Yeah. I always have people go online.
Gotcha. Have them go on, look at it, because the numbers never lie.
Well, I have them go online because I'm taking control of the conversation. Go online. Are you on Redfin? We're on Redfin together? Cool. Type in your zip code. So I'm controlling the conversation. I'm taking control.
Yeah.
Go online, put in your zip codes. Let's do your bedroom count. So I'm getting to follow orders. Cool. Send me your next pay stub.
Oh, I love that. I love that. See, that's a gangster move right there, because you're controlling and you're kind of disarming them.
Correct.
Right? Because they come in saying, hey, I don't want to do anything because of the market's going to crash. But at the end of the day, like I think I agree with you, right? Where it's an inventory problem.
Correct.
Like there's only going to be a crash like 07, 08 when there was a boatload of inventory.
Yes, we're in this real estate purgatory. You're not in heaven. You're not in hell. So if the job market stays strong, people make their mortgage payment. If rates go up, then they don't want to upgrade. So you have inventory not on the market.
Yep.
If the job market crashes, people will sell. But if job market crashes, the feds will pivot, which will make rates lower, which will bring more buyers back in the market. We printed way too much money for there not to have a cause and reaction to it. Yeah, and that cause and reaction is inflated prices that can't go away.
Yeah. Mortgage, what'd you call that? Purgatory?
Yeah, real estate purgatory.
Real estate purgatory. Just trademark that, because that's a good one, right? Because that's what we're in. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head, right? People don't want to sell because they don't want to give up their 3 for a 6, but they want to. They actually want to sell. They're just married to that. You know, they feel like, I can't let go of my 3.75.
They will if its rates are 5.25, but not at 6, 7.
Yeah. I tell people, I said 4.99, and it's raining, right? Like, correct. Dude, like we talked about that when setting up our databases and kind of having some stuff in order. I said 4.99 comes back, people are going to be partying. Like it's going to be on, right? Like we're going to be selling loans. Everybody's going to be back in the market, multiple offers. It's going to be insane. Just because it doesn't have a 5 in it.
Correct.
Like it'll be insanity.
I think people are going to take 5s now because I think it's become the norm. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So in December, I pre-approved a bunch of people at 4.75 because with the 2-point buy down from 5.25, so I got apt again. But then even though rates never got to that, people saw other buyers bum rush the market when rates went from 7.5 to 6.5. So those buyers just pulled the trigger.
Yes.
But I got them in the mood first.
Yes. And that's what I tell people, right? Like, you have to be ready to pull the trigger. You can't all of a sudden rates drop and then get in the market. You missed it. Yeah. Right? Like, you have to be pre-approved. You have to have your stuff ready to go. And then if they drop, great, but you can't time it, right? Like, correct. Nobody knew 7. Yeah. You know, I do these classes at different real estate offices, and I'm like, you know, we did a market prediction class, and I was like, you're in luck because I'm the only guy that predicted 7% rates last year. And everybody's like, this guy. I'm like, no, dude, that's a joke. Nobody predicted that. Like, we all got caught with our hands down and whatever. And so now we'll see, you know, 5s, 499, and it's a party. Like, dude.
I don't want it to be 499 because that means too many buyers come in, and then you're just writing. Then you're getting carpal tunnel from typing up pre-approvals all day.
Pre-approval letters and begging listing agents and all of that stuff.
Part of my presentation that I give people, buyer seminar, I show the FRED. And I show March 2022 when rates went from 4 to 5, and inventory just turned back up. So that 5.25 is that sweet spot where inventory will come back down hard again. So you should buy before 5.25. Because you're going to overpay, deal with appraisal gaps. Yep. You know, you're going to have horrible terms.
You're not going to get the house you want. You're going to get whatever house you can get, right? Correct. Like, I joke during the pandemic, that was the big thing, right? Where people were getting whatever house they could get. Didn't care, right? Like, they wanted to buy in Huntington Beach, but they could only get their offer accepted in Huntington Park. So they bought in Huntington Park. Yeah. Like, it's way different than Huntington Beach, right? Like, it's still hey, I want to be in Bellflower, but you know what? They're not accepting my offer, so I'm just going to move to Bell. Yeah. Way different, right?
I've never heard of Bell until a couple weeks ago.
Dude, yeah, it's not good. Not good. I mean, Bellflower is average, but whatever, you know. But it's the same thing, right? Like, you have to get it before you can't get the house you want. And you're fighting 100 people.
I think those days are done. Yeah. I think they need to stop playing The Wonder Years and Boy Meets World, where people live in this false dream about this dream home you're going to move in, you're going to raise your kid in, and you're going to retire there. I think those days are gone because there's just not inventory for it.
And I think people, like, I bought my first house. I remember we bought our first house. It was a tiny little condo, and we lived there for like 3 years. And then we sold it, and we moved up. And then we sold it, and we moved up, right? Like, so many people are like, I need 4 bedrooms and an office and a den and 3-car garage. And I'm like, yeah, no, not right now. Like, you have to work your way up to there. People don't realize it. They want it all.
Oh, yeah. Then we go back and forth all the time. Like, people, they're chasing the end result of home ownership, which is everything you're talking about. Yeah. But they forget you have to go through the process to get there. Sometimes it's going to be another home before it's the final home.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So right now you've got your own brokerage, or kind of what are you doing right now?
So we have our own brokerage. It's called What's a Mortgage, and we do our loans in California. And then, you know, out of state, we just give them out, or, you know, find a way to, you know, to control the deal here and there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And when did you start that? Last year?
We started it in August. Okay. Because, you know, we were selling leads for a while to some companies, and, you know, the companies that bought the leads, they, you know,
were dropping the ball.
Let's be honest. Yeah, they were dropping the ball.
They sucked, and you were like, wow, you're making me look bad, bro. Like,
they were dropping the ball, and then they just didn't have the infrastructure for it. Yeah. Because of the quantity of leads that came in. So their contract was supposed to end in March. We actually ended it in February. November. So in November, we were able to originate more, but we started it in August, getting ready for November.
Oh, gotcha. Correct. Okay. So that's cool. That's a whole new, so now it's another start, another journey, right? Another process, and building that up and making that what you want, right? That's your new little baby, right?
The mortgage is just there for social proof. So, you know, at our peak when we were at Loan Depot, we got up to like almost close to 50 million a month in just What's a Mortgage fundings. Wow. And went through a season of that. And then, you know, nothing against Loan Depot, just like any company, they went public and they had to raise the rates, which made us look worse. Yeah. So we left, and after that, we went to a couple small companies. Like, hey, most of our clients are conventional FHA and VA, so like, let's just broker, you know. And then we give all our jumbos to the bank.
Gotcha.
I think people respect us more for that because we're not trying to do all the deals. We only do what we can control.
Yeah. And you find what you're good at and you focus on it.
Correct.
Right? You can't be the jack of all trades and the master of none.
Correct.
You know, it's like trying to be TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. I can't do them all.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to focus on like one or two or maybe three, but you can't do all of that on the loan side either. So
so the mortgage right now is just it's there for social proof because we don't own we don't want to own the lending, but the lending through our CRM, through how we're turning the deals, we have a package to sell in a couple years. Yeah. Because we can't show social proof if we can't show consistent fundings.
Yes. So and that must have been a process, right? Because you start to build up, right? You become this personality, right? You're almost like a TV personality, right? Like people see you, you got the big smile, right? Like you're like, hey, it's me. But then leads start coming in. Like, how did that, like, how all of a sudden, like your DMs start blowing up? Like,
yeah, like I said,
what
remember
the hell happened?
I after all those loan issues, those scratch and dents, I owed after clearing out $200,000 left. I had $400,000 I owed. So I did this video. It's my VOE video. You probably don't see it on the internet anymore. I do this dance called the VOE dance. Like, give me a V, I got your V, I got your V. Give me an O, what's it spell, VOE? So I used that video, and I put $100 a day behind it. So in a month, it was $3,000. That's how I wiped out my $400,000 in debt left.
Really?
Yeah, correct.
On leads that came in off of that video.
Correct. I did 100% financing, free credit repair. So we had a system going, and I was like the first month I didn't close anything. On my third month, I closed 9 loans. I didn't close anything. I had pre-approvals out, but March, April, May, I closed 9 loans. And then before I took the deal at US Bank, I got to like 18 fundings a month, like October, November 2018.
Wow. Yeah. From the VOE dance video.
VOE dance video.
And we're going to have to look that up. We're going to have to get that like, bling, can you put that right here?
Yeah. So
VOE dance video.
But that's the one, I learned from watching that Ty Lopez video, like my Lamborghini, that video. So what I learned from that video was it is cheap to run ads on social media right now. Yeah. And no one was running ads yet. No mortgage company was running ads yet. No. So I was the first there. So of course, if you're the first, it was easier. It was easier. Now it's pretty expensive, but back then it was easy.
Oh, gotcha. And so how did you so there's so many people who think that they can't do it, right? Like that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around, right? Like people were like, I don't know what to do. Like you had that random idea of a VOE, like, hey, who recorded? Did your wife record that?
Oh no, one of our founding fathers, he actually passed away a couple years ago. Like he was doing this breathing technique underwater, and he just Wyckoff method. Yeah. So he filmed it, and I literally that day it came off the top of my head. I filmed it. It was only like 3 takes, and that one so it actually didn't go viral. So people think that their video has to go viral for them to make money.
Okay, doesn't.
So I had 5 followers back then. My mom, my dad, my brother, my partner, and my partner's parents. They shared it. They couldn't even have one each. Like, I need an extra follower. Like, no, we shared social. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Oh, damn.
So they would watch, and then that one video, I was averaging like 200-300 views on it. That video, I got 2,000, which is not. It sounds like a lot back then. It was a lot.
Back then, it's a lot. Yeah.
So I took it and I'm like, cool. As soon as I sell my house, I'm gonna take some of that money and run on ads like Ty Lopez, and that video just turned it all for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's so. Would you consider yourself like a marketing guy? Like,
100%.
Yeah.
I'm just marketing because loans I stay on top of, but it's not the loan. It's like the marketing that drives the loan, not the loan drives the marketing.
Correct. Like I think I had told you, right? Like you're the rainmaker.
Correct.
Right? Because that's the secret sauce. If you can bring in the loans and bring in the deals, I used to have a sign in my office. It was ginormous, right? It was like it was like this big, and it said, "I don't do loans, I get loans." And it was ginormous. People would walk in and be like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "Well, like anybody can do a loan, right?
Correct.
Like I can teach my little stuffed animal godson over there, like to do a loan and take a 1003." But getting the loans and bringing in the client acquisition, the marketing is,
and that's what I learned in 2017 when I was doing 68 million, 5 of the teams did 10 million, and I had randoms that did the last 18. But I had the company, I had the warehouse line, but they brought all the business in. So when they left me with nothing. Yeah. So I learned after that time where like unless I'm the rainmaker, I don't want to be a part of the business anymore.
Yes.
If I am just one of the legs on the tripod, I don't want to be part of the business unless I'm the one in the picture all the time. Then I'll be part of the business.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for business owners out there, right? Like you have to. You're either the employer or the employee, right? So you knew, like, dude, I have to focus here. Like, this is where my highest and best use. And so I think for people who are starting out, like, they have to figure that out, right? Like, that's the secret sauce.
Yeah, I think what I talked to you about earlier, if you hire someone who's going to be an alpha, they'll eventually, and they're the ones who bring in the business, they'll eventually leave you.
Yeah.
Any top producer, doesn't matter if it's your kid, your brother, your wife, if there's better opportunity because they're the rainmaker, someone will poach them from you.
Yes. 100%. 100%. So we're going to take a quick little break. We'll thank our sponsor, and then we'll go on phase 2.
Okay.
Cool. Are you looking for a new and exciting way to improve your fitness? Well, you have to join the Camp Transformation Centers in Anaheim and Ontario Ranch because they are doing some special things over there. They are changing people's lives with great classes and a great environment and great instructors that are helping people lose weight, become more confident, become more healthy, and just live better overall. So if you're interested in changing your quality of life and learning more about starting a fitness journey, give the Camp Transformation Center a call, either Anaheim or Ontario Ranch, and start your journey towards a healthy and fulfilling life. They are amazing. You're going to love them. Give them a call. Now back to the show. All right, we're back with Uncle Min. I love Uncle Min, by the way. That's like, makes you family, makes you relatable. It's super catchy, right? Like kudos to you. So that's really cool. So you live in California, native?
Correct.
You
Yeah.
grew up here?
Grew up in California.
Really?
I was born in Vietnam. Then I took a boat, a fisherman's boat, actually an anchovy or sardine boat to the United States.
Really?
Of course, the boat crashed. A U.S. naval ship picked us up, and of course, we came in the United States. I feel like the story of Moses. Like God kept me alive for a reason.
Wow, that was like Vietnamese Gilligan's Island.
Correct,
Dude, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, for all the videos we've seen of you, I don't know if I've ever heard you say that.
I don't tell too many people.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So family's here, all in Southern Cal. Big family, little family?
Little family is like my brother, myself, my mom, my dad.
Yeah. Gotcha. Anybody else in the mortgage business, real estate, anything like that?
My sister-in-law is in the real estate industry, but of course, her and my wife, they beef, so I don't bring her up a lot.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's on the outside.
Oh, correct, 100%.
That's that Latino stubborn.
Well,
my
there's
family
different stories like who's at fault, but that's another day.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast
Correct.
that you got to get on with Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Or Maury. You are at blame for this, for all of that stuff. Oh man, that's cool. So you started the business, right? And you've grown this thing so much, right? Like as I've seen it, it's crazy to see those numbers, right?
Yeah.
Who's influenced you the most? Like throughout your, let's say, growing up, who was your biggest influence growing up? And then who's influenced you the most in business, let's say, over the last 5 years or so?
I think Steve Jobs.
Uh-huh.
When he would talk,
I posted a quote by him today.
he's just a stone cold killer. Like with business, he put business before his family.
Yep.
And there is seasons when you need to do that until you have that success.
Yeah.
Because some people are trying to balance both, but if you're not there yet, how can you balance both?
Yeah.
And of course they say enjoy the journey. I feel like, yes, once you get to a certain place, and I think what I like about Steve Jobs, like it was never good enough. If the point you get to where it's enough, you give up, and that's when other people will pass you up or things have evolved. Like in 2017, I was killing it. I didn't think there was a chink in my armor. And when that chink came, I wasn't ready for it because I didn't work. I only worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I would just relax and chill. Yeah. Because I thought I would make it to the top of the mountain, let me enjoy it. And, watching Steve Jobs, like this guy was just a stone cold killer. He would just fought. And like any idea he made his team make it happen. Yeah. Just pulling things from thin air.
Dude, it's crazy. I see Elon Musk a lot like that. Like he comes up with these crazy things. But I posted something about Jobs today because I felt like he was way ahead of his time, right? Like the stuff, like we look at that iPhone. When that iPhone came out, it was like next level.
Oh, by the way, if Apple drops under 130, buy it.
Oh, there you go. Tip of the day. Yeah. Apple under 130.
It was at 127 a couple weeks ago. I bought as much as I could for my son.
Really?
But there should be a dip coming. If it drops under 130, buy it. Because 120 is the price of when the iPhone came out. So you're getting it at such a discount. You're getting it at the price of when the iPhone came out. Grab as much Apple as you can.
Wow. Look at that. Tip of the day. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah, dude, that's gangster. It came out, it was at 120?
Yeah, correct.
When the iPhone came out.
Correct.
Well, because they've done splits, no?
Yes, correct.
Wow. That's insanity. Imagine you bought it back then and then
at 120, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah. Dang. All right, so now I'm going to go buy some Apple later today.
And then as soon as Chat GPT comes out, if Apple even gets close to it, it's going to bring up I'm sure between Apple, Google, Microsoft, as soon as whoever catches the Chat GPT first, that stock is going to explode next.
Explode. Yeah, that chat, I was messing with it today. I had it write me a song, like a random song that's coming out. That song is coming to you guys. I am not singing it though, but it is coming. But it does all types of crazy stuff.
Oh yeah,
dude. It's like,
you can get lost. Like on TikTok, I said, write me a newsletter, but write me a real estate newsletter with a Western accent. Hey, y'all.
No way.
I was like, hey, y'all, folks.
Dude, that's crazy.
You want that mortgage? And they had the mortgage.
No, it did not. Like with the twang.
Yeah.
Dude, I laughed at like how it was making like the announcer says this and then you say that. And then this person says this, like a real script. I was like, dang, like this thing. Future's coming.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of us all.
Correct. That's why buy as much tech stock as you can, because when it does, you're just sitting there collecting your money.
Yeah. So Steve Jobs, big influence as far as in business and in life, and as far as what he does, just how he ran his business and whatnot. Yeah. I love me some Steve Jobs. How about other stuff that's influenced you, books or?
You know, there's a guy besides Ty Lopez. There's a guy named Billy Jean.
I saw him for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
I bought. So you went to that but you went to that event.
Yeah, I went to
with Renee Rodriguez and Neil. So he sold a course. It was $4,000. I didn't think I would spend $4,000. His course changed the way we marketed, because his course taught us how to run ads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is super cool dude too, right?
Yeah.
But he is like a Jedi. Like the stuff he does, you're like, dang, really? He's really, really good about doing all the marketing stuff.
Yeah, so he influenced a lot. And then now, I look at these younger kids.
Yeah,
they learn how to work. You know, they don't overwork themselves. They always have their mind on innovation. How do I make money with less risk and low effort? Because we're always taught work hard, put your head down, grind. Yeah. By the time you get to the end of the race, you're like skeleton, right?
Yeah.
And these young kids, they are always thinking about innovation, spend less risk, less work.
Yeah.
And they inspire me so much. Where, okay, how do I make it better? How do I make it better so I can spend less and work less?
Yeah. These kids have I mean, dude, you see some of the things these kids have done to make real money, like big time money, not just on on social stuff too, but I mean, just how simple they've done. And it's the world of technology.
Yeah.
Right. That you can make all of this money. Like I look at the Daniel Mack of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one little stupid question and what do you do for a living? And he's making a really good living, right? Like all his random little videos of all these cars is something we all thought about. Like, dang.
Neil.
Mm-hmm.
Neil in 2020 to 2021. See, I was like anti-Neil, not because I didn't like him. I want to be a true loan officer. I want to make money doing loans. Mortgage is the reason why I got into this. I'm going to grind it out. In 2020 or 2020, I think he made $4 million.
Yeah.
And he made it by leveraging his page and technology to get people to sign up for his course, and he made his money.
Yeah.
And then he used that, he bought real estate. But I wanted to grind it out. Okay, I'll be big on social to do loans. Bro, I got trigger fingered by sending out applications all day, like while he just sat there and collected a check. I'm like, that's innovation.
That's innovation. Yeah, because it's true. Nobody really likes to do loans.
Correct.
Like, let's be honest, right? Like nobody likes to do that process and be a prisoner of the loan process. But yeah, you're right. It's innovation, and that's kind of what you've been working on, right? Is innovating your business and streamlining it and setting up those, like bulletproofing your business.
Correct.
Right, and making it way more stable.
Oh yeah, you have to eventually take your like if you're in real estate or mortgage, you're taking a career and you're turning to a business. A lot of people keep it as a career, and you have to find a way to eventually, pivot to turn your career into a business, and that's when you have automations. That's when you work less risk, and you make more.
Yeah, and leverage technology, right? But you have to have that name, right? Like the name helps, right? And doing a good job is super important. But yeah, it's crazy the way the game has changed.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
It's a changing of the guard. I've never seen more new loan officers. I'm talking about 7, 8 digit NMLS numbers. We got like, I got 6. Yeah.
I got 6.
Almost 6. There are guys with 7 to 8 digits.
Yeah.
Making it, surpassing guys like us
that have been in the business forever.
Correct.
By using technology and social media, right? And just, again, being where people are at. You have to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now, first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I grab this thing. And that's what every one of our consumers does.
Yeah, correct.
Every single one. They're there. Right? Like the people that, the guy who's been in the business 20 years and is like, I don't need social media. Like, you're going to die. No, I mean, not literally. Yeah. I guess they are literally because they've been in the business for like 50 years. But your business isn't going to go anywhere. Like, you have to be where the customer is.
Yeah.
You're not going to drop mailers and get the same ROI you would with your post.
Correct. Especially if you drop mail these days. If they run credit, then you got the smarter guys who just buy soft mortgage credit, or they just buy mortgage trigger data, and then they call in and undercut you.
Dude, totally. I literally open my mail above the trash can. Right? Like, I pull out the 4 things I need, and I thumb through it, and it right in the trash. And I'm like, dude. And that's kind of how we are with our phones, right? Yeah. If you think about it, scroll, trash. Stop. This looks funny. And you're trying to get that person, you just trying to get their attention really, really fast.
Oh, correct.
Like you have a split second, like, I don't know, what's the numbers, right? Like
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
2 seconds to get their attention.
1,000, 2, 1,000, that's it.
And that's it. Damn. Shit, I'm in trouble, dude. This face ain't making nobody stop, bro.
You're telling me, dude. Same
what
here.
The hell? That's why it's impressive, right? Like, dude, like mortgage stuff is so bad. Like, just to make people be like, oh, let me watch this stupid video. What is DTI?
Yeah.
You're like, that's not DTF. 2 different things.
Yeah.
Stop it. You can make a video about that. Not DTF. Don't do that.
No DTF for sure.
Don't DTF. So talk to me about the business. Like, where do you see the business growing, or like, what does it look like now? Where do you see it in the next 5 years? Like, what's that?
So right now we're maintaining, as you guys know, as if you're watching it right now.
Purgatory, right?
Yeah, we're in real estate purgatory. I think it's going to soften up a bit. When rates have to pull back, builders going to have to build again. So I feel like we have a solid 4 years before we sell the company. So this year we became a broker. I think that this year we're going to be a direct lender. We're going to turn to a bank, and then we're going to get licensed in other states so we can show that proof of success, not just in California but in other states.
Yeah,
because we had a couple people offer to buy us, but they want to see other faces on there to make sure it doesn't revolve around one face. Because why buy a company if I get sick?
Yeah,
it's done, right? And then the second thing is, does this work in other states or does it work in California? Because even though we're not supposed to be racist, but Asian faces don't do well in Utah. So if it's a Utah company that bought us, they are in deep trouble. So they want to make sure it might not work in Utah.
The Mormon Asian. So
they want to make sure it works in other states. So we kind of got a list of a honeydew list from these investors. If this works, okay. If not, we're going to buy it this amount right now. We can't divide that 5 ways. I need more.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Correct. So our goal is to do that in the next 4 to 5 years. As we're doing that, I'm day trading, of course, until.
Yeah.
But I have that faith and belief that I'm going to sell this thing in 4 years. So that's why I'm already acting like I'm not spending the money like I've already sold it, but I'm premeditating. And that's one thing I did learn from Steve Jobs. He premeditates when he wants to will something into existence. Because if you don't premeditate it, that means you don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm. You have to like believe it in your soul.
Correct.
Right.
So if you watch the Steve Jobs movie about the hello, he was making the whole place stop until they can get the Apple to open and say hello.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was nothing, but he willed it into existence.
Yeah. I remember that. Like, that was insanity.
Yeah.
So that's the 5-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'm moving to Montana. I'm the only Asian in Montana. Yeah. Fly fishing and day trading.
Really?
Yeah, correct.
Dude, that's so you might be the only Asian in Montana.
Correct.
Dude, that's so funny. And then get a house in Utah. So that way you could be the
Only Asian in Utah.
Only Asian in Utah. Dude, that's so
not
funny.
Mormon.
That's not Mormon.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to convert. You're
Correct.
going out there to the Mormons, dude. That's I wouldn't want to live in Utah. No offense to the people of Utah. I'm sure.
I'm just
Utah's
saying we did a A and B test, and not one person responded to our ads in Utah. I could not even
Really?
one. Yeah.
Just from you speaking, like same ad you ran in California
Yeah.
versus Utah.
Correct. It did not work in
Isn't
Utah.
that funny?
It broke my heart. Just know that state of Utah doesn't welcome me.
Dude, haters in Utah.
I know.
Wow. Did they try to run that same thing with like a tall, skinny white guy with blonde hair and be like, dude, blew up?
Not yet, but that's why we're trying other faces, because maybe it's the same information, but we'll run it with another face in Utah and see how it does.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. You got to A and B test everything.
Yeah. I would have never even thought that. So that's part of the process, right? Is learning. So your goal, make it big enough so that you can scale it to a point you can sell it.
Correct.
Right. And then sell it in fly fishing.
Correct. Fly fishing, living in Montana, eating bison jerky.
Big Dutton Ranch out there.
Correct. We watch Yellowstone like religiously.
Dude, doesn't that look like the life?
Yeah.
Off the grid. Nobody can buy, like, I want this. So I tell my wife all the time, not Montana, but I want to have one of those long driveways so I could see who the hell's coming.
Yeah.
Like, ain't nobody going to, like, they're not going to knock on my door, right?
Yeah.
Like, my in-laws ain't going to just show up. I love my in-laws. They're not going to just show up. But I want one of them long driveways so I can see you coming from a long ways away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know if I'm shutting the lights off, like the Jehovah's are coming.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I think the Jehovah's are coming, I'm like, shut that off.
Jehovah's Witnesses make the best loan officers, by the way.
Really?
If you can convert religion, they don't believe in heaven. They believe that you lay there and then you wake up again one day.
You've hired a Jehovah loan officer?
My number one, I say he came from my bloodline, loan officer that came from my bloodline. He's been doing loans for only 5 years. His name is Chris Robley. Anyone can look him up. He's like top tier loan officer. But the reason why he's so good, he was getting rejected going to people's houses. And he got so good. If you can convert religion, you can convert a loan.
Wow. That's crazy. I would never even think about that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, because that's a hard sell.
Yeah.
You need to talk to somebody.
Like, by the way, you can't celebrate Christmas. You can't celebrate all these holidays, and you only get a birthday. If you can sell that you can't, like when all your friends are in school, you can't celebrate any of that, only your birthday. Then you can sell mortgages.
Wow. Jehovah recruiting. Dude, that's so gangster, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy.
This guy he just needed to be pointing at the right product. He was a graphic designer 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He bought his house cash last year in this type of market without even flinching for $1 million cash.
Really?
Because he made all that money in mortgages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insanity. Does he have like 9 kids? No.
Right now he has his first kid. He's having his first kid.
Really? Damn. I would have never thought. Jehovah, there's another tip of the day. Buy Apple stock, hire Jehovah loan officers.
Correct.
Wow. Did he introduce you to the other ones, like other people that he's?
Yeah, he lived at my house for 6 months because he was my graphic designer. He came from New York here. He lived at my house, and I taught him everything, And then I taught him that, like I said earlier, I taught him something. He taught me about CRMs, and he uses CRMs, and that's how he grew such a big database.
Oh, really?
And, he even took over some of Brian Decker's offices.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because his CRM, because if you're a realtor, you work with him, you have a higher percentage of getting your lead back. So he took one of my strategies, but he 10x'd it.
Yeah.
We went door knocking to realtors who had Zillow Premier.
Yep.
If they bought Zillow data, we offered to buy it from them, but we would never buy it from them. They were like, "Why do you want to buy our data?" I'm like, "So we can market to it." Well, I'll give it to you then. So we took all these realtors' databases, we threw it into our CRM, and we started generating purchases out of it. And through that, we have a deck, and he went to present it to other realtors.
Yeah.
And that's how we got through the door. And now he has this huge database of clients from all these realtors who bought Zillow. If they buy Real Geeks, whatever type of lead they buy, he puts in a CRM, and it just converts for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
So he took that that graphic or tech background and just figured it out. Find a need and fill it.
Correct.
Wow. And he doesn't do any videos on social.
He still does it, and he doesn't have to. But his CRM is that good.
What CRM does he use?
Big Purple Dot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I've only seen Big Purple. I use Jungo Salesforce,
Yeah.
but Big Purple Dot. Wow, another good tip, man. So those of you out there trying to build your business, right? It's like you have to have systems.
Oh, you have to turn your career into a business.
And you need to have systems in place. Otherwise, you are the system. Right?
Yeah, you are. You're the slave to
your
slave. Career. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that earlier, right? Like you're doing all the work. You're punching in everything. Like you need to leverage.
Correct.
And the CRM is so important. People hate the CRM.
Yeah, I didn't for 17
years. You did
years.
too? Were you like me? I hated it until like 4 years ago. Maybe 5 years ago, where finally I was like, dude, I think I need something to be organized.
Yeah, because if not, you're like always chasing new clients.
Yeah. You're chasing the new clients, and then you're using the Post-it method, right? And there's no structure. So now you got everything into the Big Purple Dot. Is that what you use now? Correct.
That's so cool. Yeah, you got to leverage. Like we went through some crazy seasons where, like I said, he took my idea, but he just took it to the next level. I had my AE, the ones that actually stayed loyal that worked for me.
Yeah.
They would go to call realtors, and you would go on a Zillow, look for all the Zillow premier real estate agents, and we would mass text them, hey, my name is so-and-so. Are you doing anything with your Zillow leads? The older, the better. And then we would just mass text them on behalf of the realtor.
Yeah.
By law, you have to co-brand. You can't just text a random person.
No.
So we co-brand it, give them something to download, or if they watch a specific amount of the video, then we would get them on the phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You did that in 2017.
Yeah, but but he, of course, at that point I was losing everything, so he took the strategy. He just went to another company with it. Yeah. So we're still good friends. It's like a sinking ship. I would be an asshole if I told him, hey, stay with me while
the Titanic goes down.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. And then Zillow decided to buy their own mortgage company.
Correct.
And ruin the party for everybody.
Yeah.
Jerks. Stupid Zillow.
Yep.
Can we cut that into a clip? Stupid Zillow.
Stupid Zillow.
Why is Zillow so dumb?
Zillow's they're so dumb is because they're just the reason why I feel like Zillow's so dumb because they thought they were bigger than they are. They did the whole Zillow iBuy situation, and they just effed it up. They just ruined their name. They thought because they were so big on the internet, they can screw people over and no one would care.
Ooh, yeah, it's so true, right? That iBuyer, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do this."
You think you're so big that you can pull a move like that and get away with it.
Yeah, that's a gangster move. Yeah. But eventually, if you screw people, they're gonna like fight back, right? You can't go around in life screwing people.
That's Zestimate, man. I'm telling you.
No, that Zestimate will get you every time. I'm always taken back by Zillow because I feel like agents have funded their own demise, right? Like that's always what gets me about Zillow is like everybody's paying them for leads, and eventually, like they're not gonna need us.
Yeah, it's like you brought a fox into your hen house,
right? Totally. And you were like, hey, honey, look at this fox. And then the fox goes, kicks everything, eats everything.
It's like you bring a girl out to a party, but then your friend ends up closing them.
Yes, right. Exactly. You're like, dude, you're supposed to be my wingman.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Somebody got to do this.
Yeah.
Right? No, man. Yeah. I look at that Zillow and it's crazy to me. They got the data from Realtor and like, dude.
They funded the project.
And like everybody's happy to do it. Like, hey, here I got my Zillow badge.
The crazy thing is people are willing to pay Zillow the money, but they don't want to do the ad themselves on themselves. They're not willing to invest in themselves. They'd rather invest in Zillow. Blows my mind.
Isn't that crazy? Like, don't run an ad for Minh or for whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Like Keller Williams. Don't run a Keller Williams ad. Instead, have all those agents paying Zillow.
Yeah.
And that's how Zillow became. I mean, everybody knows the word Zestimate.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It's like the word Kleenex.
Yeah.
Q-tip.
Xerox, right? Like people know that word no matter what. It's crazy. Kudos to them for building that brand. I just get bitter because I feel like we funded it and they're going to take us out.
Oh yeah.
Right?
They're on their way there.
Yeah. They don't do real estate yet, do they?
They do real. So
some areas.
So see, Zillow's a pimp. They have all real estate agents are their tricks working their corners in every zip code and bringing them Johns.
Yes, I got hoes in different area codes.
Yeah, for sure. They got hoes in different areas. They got them tricking for them, out there. Think about wasting their gas, wasting their time showing houses, and you end up with peanuts and they keep the majority of the money.
Yeah, and they go, hey, congratulations on doing all the work for that closing. Give us our.
I'm telling you, they're a pimp because what pimps do is they make you feel that you're secure. They're taking care of you. And all of a sudden they just waited their time until they put you out there in the corner to work.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a great analogy, right? Like it is, because that's basically what they've done.
Because one of my buddies, I asked him, hey, why don't you have more Zillow? Why don't you have a bigger Zillow Flex account? He's like, I need more agents. And then he showed me their commission breakdown. I'm like, bro, I'd rather be an Uber driver.
Really?
Yeah. You're working, like, well, you make good money, but the amount of work you put in and what you get out of it, I'd rather be an Uber driver. Because now, as an agent working Zillow, it's like you're working valet or a bartender. The money's good when you're in your early 20s and 30s, but you get caught in the cycle.
Yeah.
And you stay a bartender and a valet parker, and then you never get out of the business.
Yeah.
So there's an office. I don't want to say his name. He's the second largest Zillow in California.
Yep.
Everyone who's working there are in their early 20s working for peanuts, but they're happy because they're making more than someone in the 20s.
Average early 20s.
Correct.
Would make.
But it's like you're in this vicious cycle that you're never going to get out of.
Mm-hmm. So I look at that. And I remember when the market crashed, I had no database, right? But I remember I worked for 3 places that got shut down by the FDIC.
Dang.
I worked for IndyMac Bank. I worked for Fremont Investment and Loans.
You know Mark Gator then?
No, I don't. For Fremont, and then I worked for American Sterling Bank.
Wow.
Like back to back to back, like shut down by the government. And I just remember like that they took the database, they controlled the leads, right? And that's how I look at Zillow. Like if Zillow said we're shutting off Flex accounts, like all those businesses are shut down. Correct. All those agents are basically out of business.
Yeah.
Right?
If they turned to that Redfin model, all those people would be out of business.
Tomorrow, right? Yeah. If they said, hey, we're going to keep you, but we're going to put you on W-2s.
It'd be done.
They're all done because they didn't learn how to market themselves.
Correct.
Right? And they didn't learn how to build that bulletproof business that you were talking about, because it's really just dependent on getting that email from Zillow. Right? Correct. And some agents have gotten good and they've built, like I know some that do Zillow, but they have great databases. Like they've built both, but there's a lot of the ones who do not, man.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen.
Oh,
right? We're going to look back on this little conversation and be like, dude, remember when we talked about when Zillow was going to shut off the faucet on everybody?
Yeah.
And guys like you and me are going to be like,
yeah,
we'll be doing that meme from Friday. Right?
Or that Michael Jordan one.
Or the crying Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Oh, it's going in that direction. Like everything, it's showing that it's going in that direction right now.
Yeah.
Same thing with lending. Like it's not the guy who can fix loans. It's not the guy who can solve the hard one. It's the person that can get the consumer to push the button to app. Yeah. If you can get them to push your button before someone else's button, you're going to win.
Yeah. You have to get speed to lead or get them to action.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think about lending itself, right? Like so much technology has taken over. The business is crazy, right? Like do you feel like more big banks, more brokers, more retail lenders, like, or is it always going to be a mixture of everything because different strokes for different folks?
I think eventually the margin compression is going to compress hard.
Yeah.
And I think you have to make a lot on a little. So you have to find a way to minimize your bills and keep it lean, you know?
Okay.
Find a way to create a good system and then make it lean. Because I think, I didn't think I would ever broker again, and I see now the speed and the service and the cost compared to when we were at Loan Depot. They would sell all mellow homes, mellow technology, mellow. And that's the reason why you're selling these rates, because of service. We're getting the same service with probably 5 times less than what we would pay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Just on that broker side.
On the broker side, because, the 2 big ones are UWM and Rocket. They've systemized everything for you. They've already spent the money and they're able to close, if you're W-2, they're going to close it fast.
Yeah.
And I think that's the majority of Americans, not all. But then, of course, there's going to be the hard ones that I think we'll still have to go to a loan officer.
Well, that are still square peg, round hole, right?
Correct.
They still need guidance and love, and it's not work number VOEs and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, my number one video, VOE, that video wouldn't make it today because VOEs are pulled instantaneously now.
That's true. Yeah, because now it's like push 2 buttons and you got, I got your last 5 years of your life.
Correct.
Dude, that's so funny. Yeah. I mean, the market's definitely different. I feel like this market is weeding out a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Oh,
right?
40% of loan officers So I didn't want to say the number until after February 1st, because February 1st, if
You can
didn't
still renew your license?
until February 1st,
Okay.
the extension ends. So February 1st, 40% of loan officers did not renew their license.
Shut up.
So I'm like, please, refis, come somewhere in the summer. Like,
Really?
knock these guys out now.
40% did not renew their license.
Correct.
I had like 3 past clients become loan officers in the last 2 years. Like one person worked at Loan Depot.
Yeah.
Made like 220 grand a year. 220 grand in their first year in the business. And I was like, dude, save every dollar.
Correct.
He's like, nah, dude. I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, I've been there. I remember. I saw people buy M4s and Beamers and houses at the river. Save every dollar.
Yeah, that's
He's not at Loan Depot no more.
so I saw some guy pull up to the curb over at Irvine Spectrum, and he honked the horn because he recognized me because he's a loan officer. And I asked him, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for someone to come rent my car. He was a loan officer at Loan Depot. Because times are tough, he has to rent out his car.
Oh, he was doing the Turo thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, and it's a brand new one. I'm like, oh, man.
Dude, yeah. A lot of people didn't learn. And honestly, guys like us, we can look back on it because we learned, right? Like, dude, those years, that 07, 08, 09, right? I laugh. People are like, this market's the same. This is not, right? But we learned a lot, right? We learned
this is a cakewalk compared to then.
Dude, totally. And I love the purgatory analogy, right? Like, I'm going to use that. I like, that's a really, really good one because it is. We're in this weird spot, but it's not like the crash, you know? Like, we saw the high rates and now it's kind of like tapered off. So I love that. That's a really good one. So cool. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff. You're not doing any coaching stuff. You're doing a lot of classes and stuff like that. You're educating people, or what do you?
I did it. So I promised myself this is something I wanted to do. So December, January, and February, I'm like, I'm going to speak every week. I'm going to find some place to speak. They're going to pay me. Some people actually paid me to speak. I was pretty blown away. Like, how much are you going to give me? What? I'm like,
really?
Dude. So I'll take the deal. So if they're paying me, or if they don't pay me, or they'll just pay for my room and board, or they'll fly me there, I'll speak. But I did it already. I'm like, okay, that's not something I want to do.
Yeah, be out there, and it's a pain in the butt.
Correct.
Especially if you miss your flight from Fresno.
Yeah, if you miss your flight, you're done. And I got to go to Fresno again this week.
And that drive is
5 hours.
5 hours of nothing.
It's okay till you hit LA, and then you're just sitting in traffic.
Parking lot.
Correct.
So you've been driving for 3.5 hours, and then you sit in traffic.
Yeah, 3.5 hours, and then you're like, oh, you're there, and then boom.
Nothing.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's like the all-time worst, man. I hate it. We drove to Tahoe. It took us 20 hours to drive to Tahoe. I was bitter.
Wow.
Bitter. Take loan officer with like basically ADD and lock him in a car for 20 hours. Oh. And I was like, no Wi-Fi. There's nothing I could do. I was like, honey, I'm about to lose my mind. She's like, we'll be fine. Right? Like, my wife's this calming voice. She's like, it's okay. And I'm like, this is not okay. I'm going to hurt people in this car. And it's my kids. She's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, God bless her, you know?
Does your wife work, or she doesn't work?
She doesn't.
She doesn't?
No.
Was she ever in the industry or business?
No.
Wow,
never.
She's patient with you? That is rare.
Yeah.
Typically, they have to kind of be in the industry to understand what you're going through.
Yes. No, my wife, it's so funny because we're so different, right? Like, I'm sales guy, high I personality, outgoing, talk to everybody. She's very much reserved, doesn't do that, but she is like the most understanding human in the world. Like, she literally gives me a ton of grace. I am a borderline asshole sometimes, right? Like, she called me the other day and I was super short with her on the phone, and then I got home and I was like, hey, honey. And she's like, are you done being a jerk? And I was like, shit. I was kind of a jerk, huh? She's like, yeah. Like, why you cut me off? So yeah, shout out to Kim Soto. She's a saint and deals with all of my craziness, you know?
So I always ask people this question. As a person in the real estate industry, how is it raising kids? It's not the same because we're there, but we're not there. It's hard to like go home and be home. Was that hard?
Yes. So I saw the analogy.
Especially with your level of success in the industry, it's like you got to be there in mortgage. It's hard to go home and just turn it off.
Yeah. So this is one of my all-time least favorite moments of life is when you're on vacation, right? And this was me. Take off the headphone. Is doing this move. We've all done it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Every single time. And I'll never forget, we went to Hawaii and I gave my wife that look. and she took the kids to the pool. She took them like kayaking, and I stood to take a low nap from Ali Kataba. I'll never forget the damn guy's name. Right. So I look back and I missed out on a lot of stuff, man. Right. Like I put business and building the team and the business first, and it cost me a lot. And I look back, my daughter's 18 now, and I missed a lot. Like I look back, I'm like, damn, dude, I sucked. But my hard work has taught her a lot. It's given us a foundation for her to be able to go to colleges. She has opportunities I never had. Right. Like I grew up in a small little apartment in Brooklyn. You right? She's got opportunities that I never had. So for a lot, it's yes, she's gotten some more opportunities, but we've sacrificed a lot. Now, early on, I took every call 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. I'd be like taking it. I'd sitting on the couch with my laptop. Like now, I don't answer the phone at night. Right? Like I'm not saving a deal at 8 o'clock at night. There's no underwriter I'm going to call. Ain't no underwriter going to take my call. So I don't do any of that stuff now. Like when I leave here, I shut it off.
That's good, man.
And I don't care. Like nothing. I might lose a deal here or there, but I don't like if you can't respect my time and my family time, then I don't really need to do business with you. Whether you're a realtor or a financial planner or somebody like that time with my family is more important than any one deal. Right. Yeah. For a while there, I was like, I need every deal. Now I'm like, dude, it don't matter. I ain't going to get every deal anyway. Like, let's just be honest. If I'm really,
I think that's wise words. I think loan officers and realtors need to hear. You're not going to get every deal.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that mentality, that anxiety that you're going to lose that deal, eats you up.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to lose it anyways, but that anxiety of mentally dealing with it, I think causes people to break, and not sit in the industry, or they're miserable.
Yeah. And I think if I look back, the reason that I felt that way was because I wasn't doing the work when I was supposed to.
What do you mean by that? Like,
right. So I would be at work, but there would be so much dead time, right? Like now, if you look at my calendar, it's like I'm dialed in, right? But there was those years where you're spending an hour at the water cooler and you're going to lunch and you're talking to this. And so it wasn't focused on like, I need a prospect and lead generate. Right. And so then you feel like, shit, now I have an opportunity. If that opportunity comes at 8 o'clock at night, I got to take it. Versus if you're doing the work during the day, those opportunities come during that time. Right. And you're not worried about not getting a deal.
Yeah.
So if I'm being totally honest, it was me not using my time wisely where I had that scarcity mindset. And then it changed and I got structured and I got organized and I took it like a business.
Yeah.
Right. And I realized like, hey, I've got to control my time and my activity. Otherwise, it's going to control me. And that's it.
Right. Well said.
Like that's a brutal, that's a shitty life, if I'm being totally honest.
And that's why people want to get out of the business, or like, that's why, when you like, do you ever want your child to be a loan officer or realtor? Everyone says no because of the reason you just said.
Yeah. You have to have a good team. You have to have pieces in place. But a lot of it is just like, you got to be able to shut it off, and you're not going to get every deal, and you have to be okay with it. And some people are going to hate you, right? It's like the internet trolls, right?
Yeah.
Like some people are going to hate on you. Some people aren't going to want to do business with you. I've got a good reputation. I still call realtors all the time, and they're like, I don't need to work with you, man. I got a guy. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know you have a guy. I'm not a moron. But they still throw me shade. They still talk crap to me. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm actually really freaking good. Like, you should take my meeting. And they're like, no, I'll go kick rocks. Joe Soto, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. We learn a lot, right? Like, I think you constantly got to be growing. You constantly got to be learning in order to get better in anything you do, whether it's fly fishing or trading, right? You said day trading.
Yeah, correct.
Day trading. I don't know anything about day trading. I'm like the worst. I thought the pinnacle of my day trading was when I bought Dogecoin at when I bought Ethereum at like 900 a coin, and then I thought I was going to be rich when it was 5,000.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, yeah, to the moon. And then it went down, and I was like, this sucks.
I feel you.
So, well, that's cool, man. I appreciate the time. Anything you want to leave us with? Any words of Minh wisdom? Oh, Minh wisdom. There you go.
I think innovate. Find ways to work smarter. I think people don't think outside the box to work smarter. I think if you learn how to always work smarter, then you won't have to work harder. And life is long, especially if you're going to be in real estate or mortgage. You got to pace yourself, and you got to think outside the box. Like right now, if someone came in the industry, like, I'm going to go door knocking, don't do it. How can I get people to open the door without me door knocking? That's what you should think about.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. And what I love about you is that, you know, you just do it, right? You just put yourself out there. And there's so many people who don't want to put themselves out there. And so, like, my advice to anybody who's listening or watching is, like, take that first step and just put yourself out there, right? Like, we're not saving babies. This is not crazy. You're your own worst enemy. And so you got to take those risks in order to have the reward, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
100%. So I appreciate it. Uncle Minh, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Am I allowed to call you uncle? I mean, Puerto Rican, and what are you, Vietnamese?
Vietnamese.
Yeah, we can be uncle. Uncle Minh. No, I appreciate it. What's a mortgage? What's your IG handle for the one person out there who doesn't know what it is?
It's What's a Mortgage.
What's a mortgage? Uncle Ben. Let's Uncle Minh. We'll thank our sponsor, the Camp Transformation Center. My boy Andrew Cruz, his 3 locations. He will get you fit. Make sure you get in shape. Thanks a bunch.